We want to stay in Phoenix, Arizona, though, for our next story. Remember, we have been showing you this really incredible footage of this major dust storm that is making its way, as we speak, through the valley here in Phoenix. Take a look at this. You can see there how massive it is, what it looks like. And so we're going to be breaking all of this down with some of our trusty Fox 10 Phoenix folks here, meteorologist Krystal Ortiz and Fox 10 reporter in the field, in the elements, Marissa Sarbak, both of them joining me now. And we really appreciate you guys coming up here, being out there, Marissa, to talk about what we are witnessing right now. And Krystal, I want to talk to you first, because you know what this is, and you know how, I guess, regular or irregular they are, especially this time of year. What are we looking at, Krystal?
Yeah, so that's, so you hear the haboob, a dust storm. That's why we reference them here in the valley, and it's pretty usual for us to see these types of storms, especially at the onset of the monsoon. So we have had well over 100 days with no rain in the valley. Everything is dry, the dust is ready to get kicked up, and they had some huge thunderstorms in Tucson in the last couple of hours. In fact, a lot of damage being reported there, flood warnings as well down near Tucson. So what happened was those thunderstorms start to shoot out some super strong winds down at the surface. Those winds kind of roll along the ground, pick up some dust as they move forward, and they snag that dust and push it towards the valley. So a lot of times we miss out on the rain in the valley and we just get the dust, and that's what's happening right now. Seeing reports in the East Valley, that's areas like Gilbert and Chandler, of just a thick wall of dust moving through.
Yeah, and we got this shot, this was about, I would say now about 30, 35 minutes ago. It's huge, and a lot of people, I think, watching right now who are not from the Phoenix area, this is completely novel and new to them. They have not seen something like this. Obviously, it's a haboob, that's a meteorological term for it. But if you're a Phoenix resident right now, and this is blowing through, what should you know about this? Is it dangerous?
Yeah, well, it can be. So the biggest issue that we see every year when we have haboobs move through is that people try to drive through them and we end up with car accidents. So if you get a really strong haboob, that means the winds were really strong, kicking up the dust, and it's really dense. Visibility can drop below a quarter of a mile. When that happens, people end up rear-ending each other and we end up with pileups. A lot of times, especially in the I-10 corridor between Tucson and Phoenix, that's where that happens a lot. So we always just instruct people that when a dust storm is rolling through, that they should not be hitting the road if they can avoid it. Now, folks in Arizona a lot of times say, well, I'm used to it, I know what to do, but if it gets too dense, that's when people run into problems. So the best thing to do is to not drive through it. If someone's on the road in it, the best thing to do is if it starts to get so low in visibility, they should pull over to the side of the road and actually turn off their headlights, because if you leave the headlights on, people think, I can't see where I'm going, I'll just follow the guy ahead of me. If you're stopped, bam, you're gonna run into you. So,
so Krystal, we're going to go out now to Marissa Sarbak. She's in the elements right now as we speak. It looks very, very windy, very, very dusty there. Marissa, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What is this like?
Andrew, you'll kind of get hit with a little bit of the grit in your face, actually, when you are standing outside when these dust storms pass through. We've been in and out of our car driving around different parts of Casa Grande, which is about an hour south of Phoenix, for the last 2 hours or so. About 5 o'clock, we did our first hit. We've been going back and forth with meteorologist Krystal Ortiz. They're actually for Fox 10 Phoenix, and I do want to show you what it looks like as well, because you're kind of getting a glimpse of what it feels like just looking at me. But take a look at what it looks like. This is far in the distance here, but you can see that dust storm kind of making a circular motion, and you can see it moving across that blue sky backdrop. I'm gonna have my photographer Matt, who is very tightly holding onto this camera as he pans, I'm gonna have him show you the entire skyline right now, because I want you to see the absolute differences from one spot to the next. You can see kind of the pink and orange in that sunset where it's really pretty, and then you keep panning to the left and it just turns into this ominous dark purple, almost gray, and we've been seeing even lightning come through the clouds just in that section alone. So just doing a 360 around here with the camera, you realize you're looking at so many different scenes, and it's pretty incredible to witness this, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, Marissa, just listening to the wind, the sound of it kind of whipping there in your live shot, in your report there, is really quite something. But you're right, this is the season for this. I think this is the first one of the season here. Marissa Sarbak, as always, great reporting. Stay safe out there. We want to kind of switch gears here and just get Krystal Ortiz in the newsroom with us to respond to what Marissa was saying there. Krystal, those elements out there are really quite frightening, to be honest.
Yeah, for folks that aren't familiar, it looks very scary just seeing that wall of dust. But the good news is they're usually pretty quick to roll through. So where Marissa is already, the dust has actually started to kind of lighten up and pass through because it's now moved northward. So it doesn't last long, but as it moves through, Marissa mentioned this, you're going to get hit with dust if you're outside, which is why you should just head indoors. And the winds can really crank, so sometimes that'll create some wind damage as well. Haven't seen any reports of wind damage, but I am seeing reports of blowing dust pretty much all over the East Valley at this point.
Yeah, we want to just thank you and Marissa there. Krystal, it's live now first, I think, to have a meteorologist here in the newsroom with us, breaking down this really incredible weather event. Last live look there, it looks, we just have this shot there. It looks like the photographer is kind of messing around with the camera, but very, very interesting weather phenomenon happening right now in southern Arizona.